gun people. I wanted to go over, I'm just winding down for the night, having a glass of iced tea, YouTube friendly iced tea. And I wanted to talk about that stupid Cartel video. I mean, I'm pretty shocked at some of the comments I'm getting on that Cartel video. So I wanted to kind of give you my take, because sometimes when I say things on a video, it sounds like I mean one thing, but because you don't have the context of what I'm thinking or why I'm saying what I'm saying, somehow I get all these responses and I'm kind of like, damn, did I say that? So, Alexa, play Dixie. Have a little background music.
Dixie by Randy Edelman, starting now on Amazon Music.
So, Alexa, volume 3. I don't know how much that's going to come in. Oh, that sounds good. A little background music. So, when I said a bolt action, and you're going against guys with military weapons, I immediately got all these comments because people were thinking in this kind of mindset that just because you have a bolt action rifle, that means you have a mindset, a tactical mindset of tactics, fire maneuver, you know, covering fire, covering each other as you move back and move. I mean, there's a lot of tactics that a lot of people aren't familiar with. So you give me 5 or 6 guys who are tactically sound and who have good fundamental tactics and they're meat eaters. We got bolt action rifles. We can do a lot of damage. I mean, we're going to have some covering fire. We're going to have some distance fire. We're going to set up some ambushes. We're going to snipe people as they chase us. We're going to move and hang back. So you can do, if you have a tactical team that's trained to do it. But if you go out hunting, I mean, the guy who gave me this story in the video, I don't know how many guys he went with. If he went 1 or 2 and then they hooked up and they ended up being 10 guys, or if 10 guys was including 2 or 3 escorts or guides. So there's a lot of factors that you didn't know about in that video. I'll put a link to the video. You can go watch it and see what I'm talking about, so maybe you understand where I'm coming from. Because I read the comments, and a lot of people were saying, oh man, a bolt rifle, it's going to take them out. And they got vests, and most guns that will take down a deer will go through a vest. And, well, a lot of guns that will take down a deer will go through a vest, but a lot of guns that will take down a deer at 200 yards will not go through a vest at 500 or 600 yards. You have a lot of decrease in velocity with and accuracy with distance. And a lot of your deer hunters are not shooting. I'm not a deer hunter, but from my experience, you're not taking 800-900 yard shots with a deer rifle because you may lose a deer, you wound it, it's irresponsible, you may not kill it. That's irresponsible hunting in my book. But I would shoot at a, well, I can't say that. I would shoot at a enemy at that distance. Alexa, repeat. So, I guess when you're talking bolt versus semi-automatic, it all depends. I do not want to clear a house with a bolt action rifle. I'll clear a house with a long semi-automatic rifle. I would rather have a short semi-automatic rifle, kind of like my tennis bag here. You guys, you've been used to play tennis a lot. This used to have tennis stuff in it. I don't know what the hell's in it now. Oh, it's a towel. Oh, an AK. So, this little thing, I'll clear a house. It's shooting a rifle round. It's got a short barrel. Before somebody starts crying, I love guns, don't. What, you turn into a freaking idiot because you have a drink? You can't do anything now? In this freaking safety Sally pansy freaking pussification? Hunters always drink after a day. They got guns. Nobody runs around, grabs a gun, shoot off people. Anyway, I digress. So I have a magazine in here. But anyway, this is a rifle round, but I would clear a house with it. I would not necessarily clear a rifle with a full-length AK, although I would rather a full-length AK than a full-length bolt rifle. So when you're talking about tactics, you have to take into consideration who you're with. Do they understand? Can you communicate on the fly without a plan? Because that's a big part of tactics. Is you can't really teach it. When a team works together and you start doing things together, you kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. You kind of anticipate and you can predict with a pretty good certainty how the team's going to react and move in certain situations. Because you're all training together. You learn each other's reactions. You learn the movements. You know the movements that you're comfortable with, that you've practiced, and you know the movements that you aren't really comfortable with and you got to think about. So when you talk tactics, I want to turn on the air conditioner. I'm sitting up here sweating because we got a big storm coming in tomorrow. I figured I'd do this video because Alexa, repeat. Alexa, repeat. I wish I could get her. Somebody tell me how to make it play. What do they call that? Continuous? So, you got 10 guys up there and 2 guides. I got to think, if I'm with 10 strangers, I'm thinking, in my mind, unless I know, I can't depend on any of them. I don't know what's going to happen or what they're going to do. I don't know where their mindset is at. I don't know if they're going to go into gunfire, if they're going to run away from gunfire, if they're going to sell me out, if they're going to leave me, if they're going to work with me, if they're going to try and communicate, if they're going to ask questions and follow, or are they going to want to lead. I mean, if none of that's worked out and you haven't got a team, man, your odds against them are not that great. And I know the guys who were saying, hey man, bolt-action rifles, you can do a lot of hurt. You can. But you're thinking that you're tactical and all the guys that are with you are at the same level. And that's rarely the case, unless you train and work with those guys and you're a team. So, look, would I go to Mexico to hunt mule deer? No. Would I go to Mexico to hunt with a team of guys? Yeah, I could probably be talked into that. Again, I've got to feel comfortable going into a situation with guys, which is why in police work, you don't always know who's coming in and who's doing what. And you don't know who your backup's going to be. And a call that could have went very easy can go to shit because of who's backing you up. Or if there's 2 of you and you need more people, the next 2 people that show up can either be good or bad. I go back to the old story of the Chinese farmer. It depends. If you don't know, you can go on a website, click on the Chinese farmer. I think I got a video on it. His answer to everything when somebody told him it was good or bad was maybe. So, if I had a team, could we take on anybody? Maybe. If I had 2 guys and 6 guys I didn't know, could we take on 1 dude? Maybe. Depending on 1 dude, how he's armed. I mean, 1 guy who's tactically sound has got home advantage, high ground, maybe has some drone support, maybe has some, Alexa, repeat, maybe has some air support, radio, he's got backup coming. All those things, hey, 1 guy can do a lot of damage. Alexa's,
I'm not quite sure how to...
Alexa, repeat. I started talking too much after I said that. So, hey, think about when you comment or when you kind of, and I don't think anybody was really jumping on me. I mean, there was a couple guys that, I've always got a few that's going to make these comments that I just kind of write off, but the tactical guys that are making good, what I think, good decisions in their mind, we're not necessarily on the same page. Those guys were not known, not trained together, outgunned. It looked like they had the numbers, but we don't know how many Cartel was on both sides and how much radio and how many men they could get there if they called for help. We don't don't know if they had drone or air support. We don't know if they had the military that they could have called to help them. I mean, and then of course the people, there's a couple people there that are like it's fake. Look, the guy that told me this, I can read people pretty well. I can tell when somebody's bullshitting. This guy wasn't bullshitting. He didn't make this up. He didn't snag some video and off the internet and try to... Look, I'm pretty good at reading people. If I thought there was a little bullshit, I probably wouldn't have passed it on. I think this guy's legit. I believe him. If you don't want to believe me and don't want to believe him and don't want to believe anybody, well, that's your choice. But the fact that the story is not true shouldn't change the fact that it could happen. It might happen, and if you found yourself in that situation, it's probably a good idea to have a plan. Because remember, no plan is a plan to fail. So, anytime you're in a strange area, you don't know where you're going, you don't know escape routes. I mean, if I'd have been there, a lot of people were like, what would you have done? You know, it depends. If I was there and we would have engaged, I'd have took out as many as I could before I moved. Especially if I had high ground and I had cover. Now, once they knew where I was, then I would move. And I would start heading back toward the border, because I think they were 11 miles away from the border. So, I would have started just said, screw it. I can make 11 miles. I don't care. I can make 11 miles. I'll get over a freaking border. Everyone else gets over it. I'm sure I can get through it. So, that's where I'd have headed. I'd have headed toward the border. If guys would have followed me, cool. If they didn't want to, if they wanted to split up, if I saw 5 guys freaking yelling and screaming and just hauling ass, I'm not sure I would follow them. I might parallel them, so in case I got in a jam, I could head over to them. But if they were making all that noise and the guys started following them, I could peel off and go on my own. And again, that all depends on the situation. How much gear, how much ammo did I have, how many rounds did I have? If they're hunting, I don't know if there's somebody who lives in Mexico said that they only allow you so many rounds. So I don't know how many rounds I can carry. That's another factor that comes into taking on guys. It looks like 5 guys on 10 and we got bolt rifles. Yeah, let's take them out. Well, if we only got 5 rounds apiece and they get to have more guys come and we don't hit every shot, and we're shooting on the run, and we're shooting on the pan, and that may be the first time for a lot of guys that ever shot at a person, even aimed at a real person, much less shot at a real person. Man, that's a lot of factors that just kind of up the ante of failure. So, when I was reading comments and I wanted to talk about it, I just wanted to kind of provoke a little thought, critical thinking, not saying I'm 100% right, not saying I'm Mr. Badass, not saying I've done everything and I know the best and everybody else is... Look, I'm just telling you. Me personally, I got to know who I'm fighting with. I've got to have a certain amount of trust. I kind of got to see them in action. I got to understand that. Because in cop work, man, let me tell you, in military, we were usually assigned teams when we worked. I was on a 44-man worldwide deployment team that we could be anywhere in the world within 24 hours. We had our backpack, ammo, everything. We had boxes, all our grenades and claymores and all our shit. I mean, it was all set up on pallets, pallet recorded with a thing, and we could be anywhere in the world in 24 hours. And when they called us, we had to get there fast, because usually when you get there, by the time they get the plane and you do an inspection, you get everybody there, and then the people that didn't show up, you got to find replacements. It's usually a 4-hour plan just before we get in a plane and start heading off anywhere else. So, but those guys, we had a 44-man team, and we all worked together, and we trained together. We went out for weeks at a time, and we competed against other groups, and we did things. So we had standard operating procedures. We had things that everybody knew. We had authentication cards. We knew how to authenticate. We knew the hand. Everybody knew the same hand signals. Everybody knew the same phonetic alphabet. Everybody knew how to work the radio and what channels we were on, and everybody who had radios and the fire teams and the chain of command up and down. So when you're working with a team and you get involved in something, man, your success rate goes up a lot. But when you're just out on the fly hunting with a bunch of strangers and you get in a firefight, man, I still think those guys were a sitting duck. I think they were lucky. I think if the cartel wanted them, they could have had them, and there wasn't shit they could do about it. They might have got a couple out. They might, a couple meat eaters might have took a couple guys out. But I think if they knew how to follow them, now remember there was a fence around the area, there was a farm. I don't know how big the farm is, but they had home ground advantage. And if the cartel's working in an area, if they're half as good as what people say they are, they know the surrounding area. They know escape routes. They know where the military can come at them. They know how to get away. They know where people are supposed to be and not be. They have contracts and pay off landowners. So that's their turf. So for the cartel to actually find out where they were sleeping and make a visit at night, hours later from where they had the conflict, look, I'm telling you, I think if they wanted them, they'd have been toast. It wouldn't have been pretty. But I know there's some people like, bolt action, oh, kill them, that vest ain't going to mean nothing. And all right, well, that's great. I mean, that's to each his own. A lot of times I'm not here to convince you guys that I'm right or smart. I'm here to get you to critical think and to throw in some actual experience, some actual training that contradicts and maybe creates more questions to make you question whether you're really as good or whether you really know as much as you know, or do you really understand that there's always room and things that you don't know, and that factors, the oh shit factor that always pops in and screws up plans. You got to be flexible. You got to be ready to move. You got to have some sort of plan. And, it is what it is. I thought it was a good video. I don't think the guy was bullshitting. You guys can think what you want. I just thought I would follow up on that. And I don't know if you guys even saw that. The little AK pistol there. That's what they call a flash can on the front. So it sends the flash more forward. It's not really, doesn't make it quite, or actually pretty damn loud if you're in front. But it sends flash forward. So anyway, we'll end that there on follow-up for the Cartel and taking on bolt action rifles versus semi-automatic. I think I covered it pretty well. I wasn't trying to take out bolt actions, but when you've got a single action gun, that AR right there, I can carry a couple clips and I got 90 rounds, and it's semi-automatic. I don't have to move. I don't have to change my grip. I can stay on target, have second follow-up shots much quicker. I mean, it's a huge force multiplier. Likes to be thrown around a lot. That seems to be the word of the month. But being able for you to have a semi-automatic weapon and going against a guy that has to chamber his round or shoot black powder, or only has 5 rounds and he has to reload, man, that is a big advantage to having this, which is why the government hates that the citizens have thousands. I mean, I'd love to know how many ARs there are, variations, AR-10s, and all the different platforms in America right now. And if the military ends up going to the 7.62 like they're talking about, or the Creedmoor 6.5, I think, or whatever it was. I haven't heard. I thought they were planning on going to it, and then it kind of dropped out, so I don't know if that changed or not. But, man, there's going to be a lot more ARs that are going to be surplus. So, anyway, that's my spill. Each his own. Take what you want. We can argue it out in the comments. See y'all. We'll end that there.